Naomi Carter sat in seat 8C with a scholarship folder in her lap and a future she'd fought for within reach. She'd done everything right, confirmed her meal, printed her boarding pass, rehearsed her answers until her voice didn't shake. But when the meal cart stopped at her row, the flight attendant looked at her worn sneakers, her simple jacket, and said the words that would shatter everything. "There's nothing available for you." The cabin went quiet. Not the kind of quiet that protects, the kind that watches. Naomi had a confirmation printout, witness signatures, and truth on her side. But Evelyn Marsh had a uniform, 20 years of seniority, and a smile that turned policy into a weapon. What Evelyn didn't know was that Naomi's father wasn't 3 states away. He was closer than anyone imagined, and he was about to rewrite every rule that let cruelty hide behind procedure. Subscribe right now and tell me where you're watching from, because this story doesn't just burn, it rebuilds. Naomi sat in the airport terminal with her scholarship folder balanced across her knees. The cover was plain blue. The papers inside held her future. She rehearsed her answers under her breath, lips barely moving. A gate agent smiled when an older white woman approached the counter. The smile thinned when Naomi stepped forward to ask about boarding zones. Naomi noticed. She always noticed. "Group 3, the agent said. "Thank you," Naomi said. The agent had already turned away. A businessman in a pressed suit cut in front of Naomi at the water fountain. He didn't apologize. Naomi stepped back and waited. She kept her posture tall. Dignity was a decision she could renew every minute. Her phone buzzed. The text was from her father. "Proud of you. Call when you land." Naomi felt her chest loosen. She texted back a heart emoji. Then she stood and joined the line forming at the gate. "Boarding all groups," a voice called. Naomi clutched her folder. She moved forward with the crowd. The jet bridge smelled faintly of fuel and recycled air. Her heart beat faster. This was the beginning of something. A flight attendant stood at the aircraft door. Her uniform was crisp. Her name tag read Evelyn Marsh. She scanned boarding passes with practiced efficiency. Naomi handed over her phone with the digital pass. "Welcome aboard," Evelyn said. The words sounded automatic. Evelyn's eyes lingered on Naomi's worn sneakers. Her gaze traveled up to Naomi's simple jacket. Something in her expression shifted. The warmth didn't reach her eyes. "Seat 8C, Naomi said. "Down the aisle," Evelyn said. Naomi walked past her. She felt Evelyn's eyes on her back. The first sting was small, almost deniable. That made it harder to name. The cabin air was cool. The overhead compartments were already filling. Naomi found her row and slid into the window seat. She placed her folder on her lap like a shield. A woman in first class laughed at something her companion said. The sound was easy and light. Naomi looked down at her hands. She had earned this seat. She had earned this trip. She repeated it silently. The plane began to fill. Voices overlapped. Bags thumped into bins. Naomi stared out the window at the wing and the tarmac beyond. She was ready. She had to be. Naomi watched passengers move through the cabin. Some walked with confidence. Others hesitated and apologized when they blocked the aisle. She saw who expected space and who waited for permission. A man in business class stretched his legs into the aisle without looking. A flight attendant smiled and said, "Let me know if you need anything, sir." Naomi shifted in her seat. She pulled her folder closer. Evelyn Marsh moved through the cabin with sharp efficiency. She helped a woman in a blazer stow a designer bag. Her voice was warm. "Of course, let me get that for you." Then Evelyn reached Naomi's row. She glanced at Naomi. Her smile tightened. "Do you need assistance?" Evelyn asked. "No, thank you," Naomi said. Evelyn moved on without another word. The warmth was gone. Naomi felt it. The air shifted from public to controlled. Lena Ruiz appeared behind Evelyn. She was younger. Her uniform looked newer. She had kind eyes. She helped an older man with his oxygen tank. Her voice was gentle. "There you go, sir. You're all set." Lena passed Naomi's row. She smiled briefly. It felt genuine. Naomi smiled back. "Excuse me," Naomi said. Lena stopped. "Yes?" "I pre-ordered a meal," Naomi said. "I just wanted to confirm it's on the manifest." "Of course," Lena said. "Let me check for you." "Thank you," Naomi said. Lena pulled out a tablet. She scrolled, her brow furrowed slightly. Then Evelyn appeared at her shoulder. "Is there a problem?" Evelyn asked. "No," Lena said quickly. "Just checking a meal order." Evelyn's eyes flicked to Naomi. Her expression was unreadable. "We do our best," Evelyn said. Her voice was clipped. "But sometimes requests aren't guaranteed." Naomi felt her stomach tighten. "My confirmation email said it was confirmed." "I'll check the manifest," Lena said softly. Evelyn's smile was thin. "Of course. We'll see what we can do." The words sounded polite. The tone underneath was not. Naomi nodded. She had her ticket confirmation in her folder. She was prepared. Evelyn moved away. Lena lingered for a moment. "I'll come back," she whispered. Naomi watched her go. The cabin felt smaller suddenly. The boundary between first class and economy felt sharper. She opened her folder and found the confirmation printout. The text was clear. Meal pre-ordered and confirmed. She folded it carefully and placed it where she could reach it. Her hands were steady. She made sure of that. Naomi's seat was 3 rows behind the curtain that separated first class from economy. She could see through the gap when the curtain moved. Passengers in first class had wider seats. They had real glasses instead of plastic cups. Businessman across the aisle from Naomi adjusted his laptop. He didn't look at her. He plugged in his headphones and turned away. Naomi pulled out her scholarship folder. She reviewed her prepared answers. "Why do you want to attend this program? What unique perspective do you bring?" She mouthed the words silently. Her voice had to sound confident. Not defensive, not grateful, just confident. Lena appeared in the aisle again. She was pushing a cart. She smiled at Naomi. "I checked the manifest," Lena said quietly. "Your meal is listed. Vegetarian pasta." "Thank you," Naomi said. Relief flooded through her. Lena nodded. "We'll bring it during service." Evelyn's voice cut through the cabin. "Lena, overhead bin assistance in first class." Lena's smile faded. "Coming," she called. She glanced at Naomi. Her eyes held something that looked like apology. Then she hurried forward. The cart stayed in the aisle. Another attendant moved it aside. Naomi felt her chest tighten. Something was wrong. She couldn't name it yet, but she felt it. An older man across the aisle caught her eye. He had silver hair and deep lines around his eyes. He nodded at her. Not pity, just acknowledgement. Naomi nodded back. A woman 2 rows up glanced over her shoulder. She had a kind face. A doctor's badge hung from her purse. She met Naomi's eyes briefly. Then she turned forward again. The seatbelt sign chimed. A voice crackled over the intercom. "Flight attendants, prepare for departure." Naomi closed her folder. She buckled her seatbelt. Her hands gripped the armrests. The plane began to move. The engine noise rose. She stared out the window. The terminal slid past. The runway stretched ahead. She was leaving. She was going somewhere that mattered. She repeated it like a prayer. The plane lifted. Naomi's stomach dropped. She closed her eyes. When she opened them, they were above the clouds. The flight attendants moved through the aisles demonstrating safety procedures. Evelyn stood at the front of economy. Her gestures were precise. Her face was blank. professional. Naomi watched without really seeing. Her mind was already at the interview. She imagined the room, the panel of judges, the questions she had practiced 100 times. "What challenges have you overcome?" Naomi's throat tightened. She thought of her mother. Cancer, 2 years of hospitals, the smell of disinfectant, the quiet way her mother's hand had gone still. She pushed the memory away. This trip was about the future, not the past. The older man across the aisle was reading a paperback. He glanced at Naomi. She realized her grip on the armrest was white-knuckled. She loosened her fingers. "First time flying?" he asked. "No," Naomi said. "Just nervous about my interview." "Scholarship?" he asked. "Yes," Naomi said. "You'll do great," he said. His voice was kind. "Thank you," Naomi said. He returned to his book. Naomi felt a little steadier. She pulled out her notes. She reviewed the essay she'd written about fairness in public institutions. The irony wasn't lost on her now. The seatbelt sign chimed off. Passengers began moving. The cabin filled with small noises, laptop clicks, whispered conversations, the rustle of magazines. Lena appeared in the aisle. She was collecting trash. She smiled at Naomi. "Can I get you anything?" Lena asked. "Just water, please," Naomi said. "Of course," Lena said. She returned with a plastic cup. Naomi thanked her. Lena's hand shook slightly when she passed it over. Naomi noticed. She wondered why. Evelyn was at the front of the cabin. She was speaking to another passenger. Her laugh was bright. Fake. Naomi recognized the sound. The woman with the doctor's badge looked back again. Her eyes were assessing. Clinical. She seemed to be watching something unfold. Naomi didn't know what yet. The plane hit turbulence. The cabin jolted. Naomi's water sloshed. She steadied it. Her heart was beating too fast. She told herself it was just the altitude, just the motion of the plane. But she knew it was more than that. The meal cart appeared at the front of the cabin. Naomi heard the rattle of trays, smelled warm bread and something tomato-based. Her stomach growled. She watched the cart move row by row. Passengers received trays with practiced ease. The attendants smiled and moved efficiently. Lena was pushing the cart. Evelyn walked beside her, directing, supervising. They reached Naomi's row. Lena paused. She checked her tablet. "Naomi Carter?" Lena asked. "Yes," Naomi said. Lena looked at Evelyn. Something passed between them. A glance Naomi couldn't read. "There's no meal listed for you," Evelyn said. Her voice was loud enough for the rows around them to hear. Naomi felt heat rush to her face. "I have a confirmation," Naomi said. She kept her voice even. She pulled out the printout. She handed it to Evelyn. Evelyn barely looked at it. She waved it away. "This isn't official," Evelyn said. "It's just an email." "It's from your airline," Naomi said. "We can only go by the manifest," Evelyn said. Her smile was tight. "I'm sorry." The older man across the aisle looked up. The doctor turned in her seat. Other passengers glanced over. Naomi felt their eyes on her. "Can you check the manifest again?" Naomi asked. "I already did," Evelyn said. "There's nothing listed." Lena's face was pale. She stared at the tablet in her hands. She didn't speak. "Lena told me earlier that my meal was listed," Naomi said. Her voice shook slightly. She hated that. "Lena was mistaken," Evelyn said. She looked at Lena. "Weren't you?" Lena's mouth opened. No sound came out. She nodded slowly. Naomi felt something crack inside her. Not anger yet, just hurt, public and sharp. "Is there anything else available?" Naomi asked. "The meals are for people who planned properly," Evelyn said. Her eyes were cold. The words landed like a slap. Naomi's hands tightened around her armrest. She didn't trust herself to speak. Evelyn moved the cart forward. Lena followed. Her shoulders were hunched. The businessman next to Naomi received his tray. He didn't look at her. No one did. The cabin returned to its small conversations. The moment passed, but Naomi felt it seared into her skin. The humiliation wasn't violent. It was just public, and that made it worse. Naomi sat very still. She stared at the empty tray table in front of her. Around her, passengers ate. The smell of warm food filled the cabin. Her stomach ached. She opened her folder again. She looked at the confirmation printout. The words were clear. Pre-ordered meal. Confirmed. She wasn't imagining it. Evelyn returned to the row behind Naomi. She set down a tray with a smile that sounded in her voice. "Here you are, sir. Enjoy." The man thanked her. Evelyn's politeness was a performance. Naomi heard it now. The warmth was reserved, distributed carefully. The older man across the aisle leaned forward. He caught Naomi's eye. "That was wrong," he said quietly. Naomi blinked. "I had a confirmation." "I know," he said. "I heard." The doctor 2 rows ahead turned in her seat. She looked at Naomi with open concern. "Are you okay?" she asked softly. "I'm fine," Naomi said. The lie tasted bitter. "That was completely inappropriate," the doctor said. Naomi didn't know how to respond. She nodded. The doctor turned back slowly, reluctantly. Evelyn appeared again. She stood in the aisle. Her hands were on her hips. She looked at Naomi. "Is there a problem?" Evelyn asked. "No," Naomi said. "Good," Evelyn said. Her voice was sharp. "Because we don't tolerate disruptions." Naomi's breath caught. "I wasn't causing a disruption." "You were questioning our procedures," Evelyn said, "in front of other passengers." "I was asking about my confirmed meal," Naomi said. Evelyn's smile was thin and cold. "There are inventory limitations. We can't accommodate every request, especially for—" She paused. "For people who try to take more than they're entitled to." The words hung in the air. The meaning was clear underneath. Naomi's chest tightened. Her vision blurred at the edges. "I'm not asking for more," Naomi said. "I'm asking for what I paid for." "Your ticket doesn't guarantee special treatment," Evelyn said. The businessman beside Naomi shifted uncomfortably. He stared at his laptop screen. The older man across the aisle half rose from his seat. Evelyn's gaze swept to him. A warning without words. He sat back down. Evelyn leaned in slightly. Her voice dropped. "I suggest you stop creating an incident," she said, "or I'll have to file a report." Naomi's hands were shaking. She pressed them flat on her armrests. "I understand," Naomi said. "Good," Evelyn said. She walked away. The cabin felt smaller, airless. Naomi stared at her folder, at the papers that proved she belonged, at the words she had written about fairness. She picked up her pen. She opened to a blank page, and she began to write. Naomi's handwriting was steady. She wrote down names, Evelyn Marsh, Lena Ruiz. She wrote down times. 2:47 p.m. Meal service began. She wrote down what was said, exact words when she could remember them. "The meals are for people who planned properly." Her pen moved across the page. Each sentence was a brick. She was building something. Not revenge, just truth. The doctor leaned over the seat back. She spoke quietly. "What's your name?" the doctor asked. "Naomi," Naomi said. "I'm Dr. Sloan," the doctor said. "Marianne, what just happened was discriminatory." Naomi looked up. Her eyes were wet. She blinked quickly. "I don't want to make trouble," Naomi said. "You're not," Dr. Sloan said. "She is." The older man across the aisle set down his book. He leaned over. "Ben Holloway," he said. Retired public defender. I saw what happened. Thank you, Naomi said. Do you want a witness statement? Ben asked. Naomi's throat tightened. Would you? Yes, Ben said. He pulled out a small notebook. His handwriting was neat and practiced. Legal. Naomi watched him write. She felt something shift inside her. She wasn't alone. Dr. Sloan added her name and seat number to a napkin. She passed it to Naomi. If you need me to confirm what I saw, Dr. Sloan said. Thank you, Naomi whispered. Lena appeared in the aisle. She was collecting trays. Her eyes were red. She stopped at Naomi's row. I'm sorry, Lena said. Her voice broke slightly. It's not your fault, Naomi said. I should have spoken up, Lena said. She glanced toward the front of the cabin. Evelyn was watching. Lena hurried away, but she had left a bottle of water on Naomi's tray table. A small kindness. Naomi opened it. She drank slowly. Evelyn returned. She had a tablet in her hand. She was typing something. Her face was focused. Professional. Naomi saw her glance up. Their eyes met. Evelyn smiled. It wasn't warm. It was victorious. I filed a report, Evelyn said, about your behavior. My behavior? Naomi asked. Agitation? Non-compliance? Creating a disturbance? Evelyn said. She spoke clearly, making sure the cabin could hear. Naomi's pen pressed harder against the paper. She wrote it all down. Evelyn moved toward the galley. Her tablet glowed in her hands. She typed quickly. Her expression was satisfied. She was shaping the story before anyone else could. In the cockpit, Captain Howard Vance received a message. He read it on his screen. Potential disruption. Passenger in 8C, agitated behavior, possible security intervention required upon landing. His jaw tightened. He forwarded the message to ground operations. He didn't question it. Evelyn was senior, professional. He trusted her judgment. In the galley, Lena stood with her back to the wall. Her hands were shaking. She had the manifest pulled up on her tablet. Naomi's name was there, clear as daylight. Meal confirmed. Vegetarian pasta. Evelyn entered the galley. She looked at Lena. Her voice was quiet and dangerous. What are you doing? Evelyn asked. Checking inventory, Lena said. You already checked, Evelyn said. I wanted to be sure, Lena said. Evelyn stepped closer. Her voice dropped. Do not undermine me, Evelyn said. Do you understand? Lena's throat worked. Yes. Good, Evelyn said, because if you contradict my report, you'll be suspended. Maybe worse. Lena nodded. Her eyes filled with tears. Evelyn walked away. Lena stared at the manifest. Naomi's name stared back. She folded the screen. She pressed her hands to her face. She made a decision. In her seat, Naomi closed her folder. She had filled 2 pages with notes. Times, names, words. She had her confirmation printout. She had 2 witness offers. She stared out the window. The clouds below were white and endless. She thought about her scholarship interview, about the essay she had written, about fairness and justice and the way systems protected themselves. She thought about her father's text. Proud of you. She didn't feel proud. She felt small and hungry and ashamed, but she wouldn't stop writing. She wouldn't shrink. The seatbelt sign chimed on. The captain's voice came over the intercom. We'll be starting our descent shortly. Naomi's hands tightened around her folder. Whatever waited at the gate, she would be ready. She had the truth on paper. She had witnesses. She had herself. Footsteps approached from the front of the cabin. Naomi looked up. Captain Vance was walking down the aisle. His face was calm, authoritative. He stopped at her row. Miss Carter, he said. Naomi's heart pounded. Yes? I need to speak with you, he said. Captain Vance stood in the aisle with his hands clasped behind his back. His uniform was pressed. His expression was neutral. Authority radiated from him without effort. "Is there a problem, Miss Carter?" he asked. Naomi felt her chest tighten. "I don't think so, sir." Evelyn appeared behind him. She stood with perfect posture. Her face was concerned and professional. "Captain, I filed a report about this passenger," Evelyn said. "She's been agitated throughout the flight." "That's not true," Naomi said. Her voice was steady but quiet. Captain Vance looked at Evelyn, then at Naomi. His eyes lingered on her worn sneakers, her simple clothes. He seemed to be calculating something. "What seems to be the issue?" he asked. Naomi pulled out her confirmation printout. She handed it to him. Her hand didn't shake. "I pre-ordered a meal," Naomi said. "I was told it wasn't on the manifest, but I have confirmation." Captain Vance glanced at the paper. He didn't read it carefully. He looked at Evelyn instead. "Was there a meal for this passenger?" he asked. "No, sir," Evelyn said. "The manifest showed nothing." "I checked earlier and found it listed," Lena said softly. Everyone turned. Lena stood at the edge of the galley. Her face was pale. Her voice shook. Evelyn's eyes flashed. "You were mistaken." "I saw it," Lena said. "Check again," Captain Vance said. Evelyn's jaw tightened. "Of course, Captain." She disappeared into the galley. Lena followed. The cabin felt frozen. Passengers nearby had stopped pretending not to listen. Naomi opened her notebook. She showed Captain Vance her notes, names, times, direct quotes. "I documented everything," Naomi said. Captain Vance's eyes scanned the page. Something shifted in his expression. Not quite belief, just uncertainty. "I'm sure this is a misunderstanding," he said. Naomi felt the familiar weight settle over her. The way authority always tilted toward power, toward seniority, toward whoever wore the uniform with more confidence. "I wasn't causing trouble," Naomi said. "I just wanted what I paid for." "I understand," Captain Vance said. His voice was kind but dismissive. "We'll look into it." The words sounded final. Naomi felt something in her stomach drop. Look into it meant nothing would happen. Evelyn returned. She held her tablet carefully. "No meal listed, Captain," she said. "Just as I said." Naomi's breath caught. "But Lena just said—" "Lena was confused," Evelyn said. She looked at Naomi with cold sympathy. "These things happen. Budget tickets don't always include meal guarantees." "My ticket wasn't budget," Naomi said. "We'll sort this out after we land," Captain Vance said. He was already turning away. Naomi watched him walk back to the cockpit. She felt the walls of the cabin pressing in. Ben Holloway set down his book. He leaned across the aisle. His voice was calm and clear. "Excuse me, Captain," Ben said. Captain Vance paused. He turned back. "I'm Ben Holloway, retired public defender," Ben said. "I witnessed what happened. The young lady was denied service after presenting valid confirmation. The flight attendant was discourteous and dismissive." Captain Vance's expression tightened. "Sir, I appreciate your concern. I'd like to provide a formal statement," Ben said, "if you're investigating." Dr. Sloan stood up. She spoke with quiet authority. "Dr. Marianne Sloan, seat 6A, she said. "I also witnessed the interaction. It was inappropriate. The passenger was calm and respectful. The staff member was not." Naomi felt tears prick her eyes. She blinked them back hard. "Thank you," Naomi whispered. "This isn't necessary," Evelyn said. Her voice had an edge now. "The captain has all the information he needs." "Does he?" Ben asked. He pulled out his notebook. "Because I have times, quotes, and observations. Would you like me to read them?" The cabin was silent. Other passengers watched openly now. The businessman beside Naomi shifted uncomfortably. He still didn't speak. Captain Vance's jaw worked. I'll take your statements at the gate. Good, Dr. Sloane said. She sat down slowly. Evelyn's face was tight. She walked back to the galley without another word. Lena stood near the curtain. Her hands were clasped in front of her. She met Naomi's eyes briefly. The apology there was clear. Ben leaned closer to Naomi. His voice was gentle. Write down my seat number, he said. And the doctor's. We're not going anywhere. Naomi added their information to her notes. Her handwriting was messier now. Her hands were shaking, but she wrote it all down. Why are you helping me? Naomi asked. Because it's right, Ben said, and because staying quiet makes us complicit. Something loosened in Naomi's chest. Not relief exactly, but the first hint that she wasn't carrying this alone. The seatbelt sign chimed. The plane was descending. The cabin lights brightened. Around them, passengers began gathering their belongings. Naomi closed her folder. She held it against her chest. Ben was writing steadily in his notebook. Dr. Sloane glanced back and nodded once. Truth required community. Naomi understood that now. The plane leveled out. The descent would take 20 minutes. Evelyn appeared again with a cart. She was collecting final trash and offering last-minute beverages. She stopped at the row in front of Naomi. A woman in a business suit smiled up at her. Could I get another coffee? The woman asked. Of course, Evelyn said. Her voice was warm, almost theatrical. Cream and sugar? Just cream, thank you, the woman said. Evelyn prepared the coffee with exaggerated care. She handed it over with a smile that reached her eyes. Or appeared to. Enjoy, Evelyn said. She moved to Naomi's row. The warmth vanished. Her face went blank. Trash? Evelyn asked. No, thank you, Naomi said. She paused. Could I get some water? Evelyn's smile hardened into something sharp. We're preparing for landing, Evelyn said. No more beverage service. You just gave her coffee, Naomi said. She gestured to the woman ahead. That was different, Evelyn said. How? Naomi asked. She requested it earlier, Evelyn said. So did I, Naomi said. Her voice was quiet but firm. I asked about my meal. You said there was nothing available. Evelyn leaned down slightly. Her voice dropped so only Naomi could hear. There is nothing available, Evelyn said. Each word was precise, deliberate. For you. The meaning was clear. The denial wasn't a mistake. It was intentional. Naomi felt the hurt sharpen into something else. Anger, clean and focused. I understand, Naomi said. She picked up her pen. She wrote down the time, the request, the denial, the exact words. Evelyn watched her write. Taking notes won't change anything, Evelyn said. Maybe, Naomi said, but I'm taking them anyway. A passenger behind Naomi spoke up. His voice was irritated. Can we just land already? He said. Some of us have connections. Of course, sir, Evelyn said. She moved on quickly. The passenger muttered something under his breath. Naomi caught the words, just let it go. They stung more than Evelyn's coldness. Because they sounded reasonable. Because staying quiet was always the easier path. Because making people uncomfortable was treated as the greater sin. Naomi looked down at her notes, at the evidence piling up. Her hunger was a physical ache now. It mirrored the moral one. Both were sharp and real. Ben caught her eye. He nodded slightly. Permission to continue. To not shrink. Naomi kept writing. Lena stood in the galley with the manifest pulled up on her tablet. Her hands trembled. Naomi Carter's name was there in plain text. Meal confirmed. Vegetarian pasta. Seat 8C. She stared at it. The evidence was irrefutable. Evelyn had lied, and Lena had stayed silent. The galley curtain moved. Evelyn entered. She looked at Lena. Her eyes were sharp. What are you doing? Evelyn asked. Checking inventory, Lena said. Her voice came out thin. Again? Evelyn asked. I wanted to be sure, Lena said. Evelyn stepped closer. She looked at the tablet screen. Her expression didn't change, but something in her posture hardened. Close that, Evelyn said. Her meal is listed, Lena said. Right here, I can show. I said close it, Evelyn said. Lena's finger hovered over the screen. Her heart pounded. She thought about her rent, her student loans, the 3 months it had taken to get this job. Why did you tell her it wasn't listed? Lena asked. Evelyn's voice was cold and quiet. Because people need to learn their place. Lena felt sick. What does that mean? It means we maintain order, Evelyn said. We maintain standards. We don't reward people who don't belong. She has a ticket, Lena said. She belongs here. She has a budget ticket, Evelyn said, and an attitude, and now she's causing a scene. She asked for her meal, Lena said. That's not a scene. Evelyn's eyes narrowed. Are you questioning me? Lena's throat tightened. She thought about Naomi's face, the hurt there, the quiet dignity. She thought about the confirmation printout Naomi had shown, the notes Naomi was taking. I'm just saying the truth, Lena said. The truth is what I report, Evelyn said, and if you contradict me, you'll be suspended, possibly terminated. Do you understand? Lena's breath caught. She had rent due in 10 days. She had no savings. Her family was 3 states away. She was alone. But Naomi was more alone. Younger. Facing an entire cabin full of people who had looked away. I understand, Lena said. Evelyn smiled. Good. Now get back to your section. She left the galley. Lena stood there alone. She looked at the manifest one more time. Then she took a screenshot. She sent it to her personal email. Her hands shook as she typed. She closed the tablet. She folded a paper copy of the manifest and slipped it into her apron pocket. The paper felt heavy. Dangerous. She had made a choice. She couldn't uncross that line. Naomi opened her scholarship folder again. She needed to focus on something other than her hunger, other than the humiliation sitting heavy in her chest. She reviewed her prepared answers. What challenges have you overcome? The question felt cruelly ironic now. She thought about writing I was denied a meal on a plane because of my skin color. But that wasn't an answer. That was just reality. She flipped to her essay. The title was printed clearly at the top. Fairness as Foundation. Why public institutions must serve all people equally. She had written about transparency, accountability, equal treatment regardless of race or class. She had believed every word. Evelyn passed by again. She glanced at the folder, at the essay title. Something shifted in her expression, a sneer, quick and cold. Everybody's chasing special treatment these days, Evelyn said, loud enough for nearby Rose to hear. Naomi looked up. Excuse me? I said what I said, Evelyn said. She gestured at the folder. All the big words in the world won't change what you're owed, which is nothing. The words landed like slaps. Naomi felt her composure crack, not into anger, into visible hurt. She hated that the cabin could see it. Her eyes filled. She looked down quickly. A tear fell onto the essay. It smudged the ink. Ben Holloway stood up. His chair scraped loudly. Ma'am, Ben said. His voice was calm but firm. I've watched this young woman ask politely for a confirmed meal. I've watched you deny her repeatedly without cause. And now you're mocking her. This is discriminatory behavior. Evelyn's face flushed. Sir, I need you to sit down. I'll sit when you treat her with basic respect, Ben said. Dr. Sloan stood as well. I agree. This has crossed a line. Both of you sit down, Evelyn said. Her voice rose. Or I'll have security meet this plane. Good, Ben said. I'd like to speak to security. Evelyn's hands clenched. She pulled out her tablet. She typed quickly. Her jaw was tight. Fine, Evelyn said. Security will be waiting. She walked away. Her shoulders were rigid. Naomi stared at her folder. The essay was blurred now, unreadable. She felt Ben's hand on her shoulder briefly. Gentle. You didn't do anything wrong, Ben said. Naomi nodded. But she felt wrong. She felt like her existence was wrong. She pressed her palms to her eyes. Lena appeared in the aisle. She was carrying a tray. Simple. A sandwich, a bottle of water, a small bag of chips, nothing fancy. But it was food. She stopped at Naomi's row. She set the tray down on Naomi's table. Her hands were shaking. This is from Crew Reserve, Lena said quietly. It's yours. Naomi looked up. Her eyes were still wet. Thank you. I'm sorry, Lena whispered. I should have done this earlier. It's okay, Naomi said. It's not, Lena said. She started to walk away. Evelyn appeared immediately. Her face was tight with fury. What are you doing? Evelyn asked. Providing a meal, Lena said. Her voice shook but held. That's Crew Reserve, Evelyn said. Her meal was listed on the manifest, Lena said. She pulled the folded paper from her apron. She held it out. Right here. Naomi Carter, seat 8C, vegetarian pasta, confirmed. The cabin went silent. Passengers nearby leaned in. Evelyn's face changed. A flash of panic, then anger. That manifest is outdated, Evelyn said. It's today's flight, Lena said. Today's date, this morning's upload. You're reading it wrong, Evelyn said. I'm not, Lena said. Her voice was stronger now, certain. Her meal was confirmed. You lied. The word hung in the air. Evelyn's composure cracked. Her face flushed red. You're suspended, Evelyn said. Effective immediately. Fine, Lena said. She looked at Naomi. I hope you do well at your interview. She walked to the galley. Her chin was up. Naomi stared at the tray. She picked up the sandwich. Her hands were shaking. She took a bite. It tasted like relief and shame mixed together. Ben was writing in his notebook. Dr. Sloan was watching Evelyn with clinical coldness. Other passengers whispered. The cabin felt different. Awake. Like fog lifting. Truth had stepped into the aisle, and Evelyn knew it. Ben Holloway worked methodically. He wrote down times, actions, direct quotes. His handwriting was neat, practiced, legal. He finished his own statement. Then he stood and moved through the cabin. He spoke to passengers quietly. Some shook their heads, some turned away, but 3 others agreed to sign statements. A woman in 7B wrote down what she heard. A man in 9A confirmed he saw the confirmation printout. Another passenger in 10C stated Evelyn's tone was hostile and discriminatory. Ben collected the papers. He organized them. He handed them to Naomi. Keep these safe, Ben said. Thank you, Naomi said. Her voice broke slightly. Don't thank me, Ben said. You did the hard part. You didn't give up. Dr. Sloan approached. She handed Naomi a business card. On the back, she'd written a brief statement. Patient advocate and physician. Witnessed discriminatory denial of service and verbal harassment. Available to testify. Dr. Marianne Sloan. If you need me, Dr. Sloan said. For anything. Naomi's throat tightened. She nodded. She couldn't speak. She gathered the papers, the statements, the manifest copy Lena had given her, her own notes, her confirmation printout. The evidence formed a small stack. Undeniable. Captain Vance appeared again. His expression was different now, less certain. He had heard the cabin buzz. He'd heard the word manifest. He'd heard Lena say you lied. Miss Carter, Captain Vance said, may I see what you have there? Naomi hesitated. Then she handed him the stack. He read slowly. His jaw tightened with each page. His eyes found Evelyn at the front of the cabin. "I need to speak with Ms. Ruiz," he said. "Privately." Lena emerged from the galley. Her face was pale but set. She followed Captain Vance to the front. They spoke in low voices. Naomi couldn't hear the words, but she saw Lena hand him her tablet. She saw Captain Vance's expression change, from doubt to certainty, from authority to something harder. Accountability. He returned the papers to Naomi. His voice was quiet. "I apologize," he said. "This should not have happened." "What happens now?" Naomi asked. "We'll address it on the ground," Captain Vance said. "With management and security." "Am I in trouble?" Naomi asked. "No," Captain Vance said. Something in his voice had shifted. "You're not." Captain Vance's voice came over the intercom. Calm, professional. Nothing in his tone suggested anything was wrong. "Ladies and gentlemen, we're beginning our final descent. Please return to your seats and fasten your seatbelts. Flight attendants, prepare the cabin for landing." The cabin shifted into motion. Passengers stowed bags, closed laptops, adjusted seatbelts, the familiar routine of arrival. Evelyn walked through the aisle one last time. She collected trash. She smiled at passengers. Her professionalism was back in place, smooth, practiced, as if the earlier confrontation had never happened. She passed Naomi's row without looking at her, without speaking. The coldness was worse than the anger. Naomi stared out the window. The city below was visible through breaks in the clouds. Buildings, roads, the airport runway stretched in the distance. She would land soon. She would be on solid ground. But she felt hollow. The evidence was in her folder. The statements were signed. Justice should feel closer. Instead, it felt far away, uncertain. Her phone buzzed. She looked at the screen. Another text from her father. "I'm close. Keep your head high." Naomi frowned. Close? He was supposed to be at work, 3 states away. Why would he be close? She started to text back. Then the seatbelt sign chimed firmly. No electronics during landing. She put her phone away. The question sat in her mind, unanswered. The plane dropped lower. Her ears popped. She swallowed hard. Around her, the cabin was quiet. The energy had shifted. Everyone knew something had happened, but no one spoke about it. The businessman beside her finally looked at her, briefly, then away. He said nothing. Naomi wondered what he'd tell people later, if he'd mention her at all. The wheels touched down. The plane shook. The engines roared in reverse. The cabin lurched forward slightly as they slowed. Applause scattered through the cabin. A few people clapped. Naomi never understood why people did that, as if landing safely were special instead of expected. The plane taxied, turned, rolled toward the gate. Naomi's heart beat faster. Whatever waited at the jet bridge was coming. The plane stopped. The seatbelt sign chimed off. Passengers stood immediately. The aisle filled. Bags came down from overhead bins. Naomi stayed in her seat. She clutched her folder. Ben stood and stretched. He looked at her. "Ready?" he asked. "No," Naomi said. "Me neither," Ben said. "But we'll manage." The first passengers began to file off. Then Naomi saw them. 2 security officers standing at the jet, bridge entrance. Their uniforms were crisp. Their faces were neutral. Evelyn stood near the cockpit door. Her posture straightened. Her expression shifted to something that looked like satisfaction. Naomi felt her stomach drop. The old fear rose up. The world was going to punish her for being harmed, for speaking up, for existing. Ben moved into the aisle beside her. Not blocking, just joining. Dr. Sloan stood as well, a small wall of presence, One security officer spoke to Captain Vance. Quiet words Naomi couldn't hear. Captain Vance gestured toward the cabin. Toward Naomi's row. The security officer looked at Evelyn. "Who filed the report?" Evelyn stepped forward. "I did." Ben's voice was clear. "So did I." Dr. Sloan spoke. "And I have a statement to add." Lena emerged from the galley. "I have the manifest." The security officer's expression changed. Confusion, then understanding. This wasn't the simple situation he'd expected. Naomi stood. Her legs shook slightly. She held her folder against her chest. She was ready. She had the truth. The security officers moved into the aisle. Their radios crackled softly. Passengers slowed their exit. Everyone was watching now. "We received a report about a disruptive passenger," the first officer said. He looked at Evelyn. "You filed it?" "Yes," Evelyn said. Her voice was steady. "The passenger in 8C was agitated and non-compliant. She created a disturbance during the flight." "That's not true," Naomi said. Her voice shook. The second officer looked at her. His expression was neutral, professional. "Ma'am, can you step aside, please?" Naomi felt her chest tighten. This was it. She was being removed, blamed. Ben moved closer. "I'm Ben Holloway," Ben said. "I witnessed the entire incident. This young woman did nothing wrong." "Sir, please step back," the first officer said. "I won't," Ben said. His voice was calm but immovable. "Because what I saw was discrimination, not disruption." Dr. Sloan stood in the aisle. She held up her medical credentials. "Dr. Marianne Sloan," she said. "I also witnessed it. The flight attendant denied this passenger a confirmed meal, then verbally harassed her. The passenger remained respectful throughout." The first officer's eyes moved between Evelyn and the growing group of witnesses. His certainty wavered. "Who else saw what happened?" he asked. 3 other passengers raised their hands. A woman in 7B, a man in 9A, another in 10C. The cabin was full of truth now. It couldn't be contained. Captain Vance stepped forward. He held Lena's tablet. "I need to speak with you both," he said to the officers. "Privately, there's evidence that contradicts the initial report." Evelyn's face changed. The satisfaction drained away. Panic flickered in her eyes. "Captain, I stand by my report," Evelyn said. "I'm sure you do," Captain Vance said. His voice was harder now. "But the manifest tells a different story." Lena held up the paper copy. Her hand, still, shook. But her voice was clear. "Naomi Carter's meal was confirmed," Lena said. "Seat 8C, I have the documentation. Ms. Marsh lied." The word lied echoed through the cabin. Passengers murmured. The security officers exchanged glances. This wasn't protocol anymore. This was something else. "Everyone involved needs to come to the gate office," the first officer said. "Now." Naomi picked up her folder. Her hands were steadier now. She walked toward the jet bridge. Ben walked beside her. Dr. Sloan followed. Lena came behind them. Evelyn walked last. Her uniform was still crisp, but something in her posture had collapsed. The authority was gone. They stepped off the plane into the jet bridge. The air was cooler. Naomi's legs felt weak, but she kept walking. She had come this far. The gate office was small and windowless. A supervisor stood behind a desk. Her name tag read, Maria Santos. She looked tired before they even began. "What's this about?" Maria asked. The first security officer explained. "Report of disruptive passenger. Multiple conflicting statements. Evidence of possible misconduct." Maria sighed. "Let's start with the flight attendant who filed the report." Evelyn stepped forward. She placed her tablet on the desk. Her voice was controlled. "I reported a passenger who refused to comply with crew instructions," Evelyn said. "She became agitated when informed her meal request couldn't be accommodated. She questioned my authority repeatedly. I felt the situation needed documentation. Did you check the manifest? Maria asked. Of course, Evelyn said. There was no meal listed for her. Lena stepped forward. She was trembling. But she pulled out the folded manifest paper. She unfolded it carefully. She placed it beside Evelyn's tablet. This is today's manifest, Lena said. Flight 447. I printed it during service. Maria picked up the paper. She read it slowly. Her finger traced down the passenger list. She stopped at one line. Naomi Carter, seat 8C, vegetarian pasta, confirmed, Maria read aloud. The room went silent. Evelyn's face drained of color. That must be outdated, Evelyn said. Her voice was thinner now. It's dated today, Maria said. Time-stamped 3 hours ago. It's misread then, Evelyn said. I don't think so, Maria said. She looked at Lena. You're sure about this? Yes, Lena said. I checked it twice. Her meal was listed. Ms. Marsh told me to say it wasn't. Evelyn's composure cracked. That's a lie. Is it? Captain Vance asked. He placed Lena's tablet on the desk. Because the digital manifest shows the same thing. Maria scrolled through the tablet. Her jaw tightened. She looked at Evelyn with something close to disgust. Why would you deny a confirmed meal? Maria asked. Evelyn's mouth opened. No sound came out. Her hands twisted together. Naomi watched Evelyn's certainty dissolve. She felt a strange ache. Not triumph. Something sadder. The realization that cruelty could collapse so quickly when exposed. I want the truth on record, Naomi said quietly. Maria looked at her. Her expression softened. What's your name? Naomi Carter, Naomi said. Tell me what happened, Maria said. From the beginning. Naomi told her story. She kept her voice steady. She presented her confirmation printout. She showed her notes, times, quotes, names. She laid it all on the desk. Maria listened. Her face grew tighter with each detail. When Naomi finished, Maria looked at the security officers. This is a customer service failure, Maria said, not a security issue. It's more than that, Ben said. He stepped forward. It's discrimination. Maria's expression shifted. Careful now. Defensive. That's a serious accusation. It's a serious situation, Ben said. I'm a retired public defender. I know what discrimination looks like. Let's not escalate this, Maria said. Her voice took on a practiced warmth. We can resolve this quietly. Miss Carter, I apologize if you felt offended. We can offer you a voucher, maybe a flight credit, and of course a formal apology. Naomi's throat tightened. If you felt offended. The words were familiar. They didn't admit wrongdoing. They blamed her perception instead. I don't want a voucher, Naomi said. It's a generous offer, Maria said. $200 plus the apology. I want the truth documented, Naomi said. Officially. I want this on record so it doesn't happen to someone else. Maria's smile strained. Miss Carter, I understand you're upset. But making this formal creates complications. Legal complications. It might affect your future travel. Are you threatening her? Dr. Sloan asked. Her voice was sharp. Of course not, Maria said quickly. I'm just suggesting we handle this reasonably. Reasonable would have been serving her the meal she paid for, Dr. Sloan said. Reasonable would have been treating her with basic respect, Ben added. Maria looked around the room, at the witnesses, at the evidence piled on her desk, at Naomi's calm, resolute face. She was outnumbered. Let me call my manager, Maria said. No, Naomi said. The word came out stronger than she expected. I want a formal report filed, now, with all the witness statements, and I want a copy. Maria hesitated. Her hand moved toward the phone, then stopped. She was calculating something. Damage control, liability, The cost of truth versus the cost of silence. Please, Maria said. Her voice dropped. Softer, almost pleading. Let's take this private. Just you and me. We can work something out. Naomi felt the familiar pressure. The bargain. Accept something small and stop making noise. Stop making people uncomfortable. She looked at Ben, at Dr. Sloan, at Lena. No, Naomi said. Everything stays public. Everything gets documented. Maria's smile finally broke. The warmth disappeared. Fine, but you should know this process takes time. Weeks, maybe months. And it might not go the way you want. I'll wait, Naomi said. Maria made a call. Voices murmured through the phone. Then a man in a suit entered. His badge read, Regional Operations Manager. His face was neutral, professional, but his eyes were calculating. I'm David Chen, he said. I oversee this terminal. I've been briefed on the situation. Good, Ben said. Then you know there's clear evidence of discrimination. David's expression didn't change. I know there's a customer service complaint. I know there are conflicting accounts. And I know one of our crew members felt unsafe. Naomi's stomach dropped. Unsafe? David looked at Evelyn. Ms. Marsh indicated in her report that she felt threatened by the passenger's behavior. That's a serious concern. That's absurd, Dr. Sloan said. The passenger was seated. She spoke quietly. She took notes. Taking notes can be perceived as intimidating, David said. Taking notes is documentation, Ben said. His voice was hard now. And weaponizing safety language against a teenager who was wronged is disgraceful. David's jaw tightened. Sir, I understand you're advocating for this passenger, but I have a legal obligation to take staff safety seriously. Do you have an obligation to take discrimination seriously? Ben asked. If discrimination occurred, absolutely, David said. But that determination requires investigation, due process. We can't rush to judgment. Naomi felt the ground shift. This was the reflex. Institutions protecting themselves. The language of fairness used to delay accountability. Evelyn stood straighter. Her confidence was returning. She had found her opening. I stand by my report, Evelyn said. Her voice was steadier now. The passenger was argumentative. She refused to accept my explanation. She made me feel targeted. Lena's eyes filled with tears. That's not what happened. Ms. Ruiz, David said. His voice was gentle but firm. You're a probationary employee. You've been with us for 3 months. Your account contradicts your supervisor's. That puts you in a difficult position. Lena's face crumpled. Naomi saw it happening. Lena was being pressured to back down, to protect her job, to choose survival. Lena, Naomi said softly. It's okay. It's not okay, Lena whispered, but her shoulders sagged. David turned to Naomi. Ms. Carter, I want to resolve this, but you need to understand our position. We have protocols, standards of evidence. A formal investigation could take months. It could be stressful for you, distracting. You mentioned you have an important interview. Naomi's breath caught. He was using her own words against her, suggesting she should let it go. Move on. Focus on her future instead of seeking justice. My interview is tomorrow, Naomi said. Then let's not let this consume your focus, David said. His voice was kind, manipulative. Accept the voucher, the apology. We'll note your concerns internally, and you can move forward. Naomi looked at her folder. At the scholarship essay, at the words about fairness and institutional accountability, she felt hollow, defeated. Let me think about it, Naomi said. David smiled. Take your time. We're here to help. But Naomi knew. Privacy meant burial. Time meant forgetting. Help meant silence. The door opened. A man stepped into the office. He was dressed simply. Jeans, a pressed shirt, no tie. His face was tight with controlled emotion. Naomi, he said. Naomi looked up. Her eyes went wide. "Dad?" Graham Carter crossed the room. He didn't rush, but his presence filled the space. He looked at Naomi first. Only her. "Are you okay?" he asked. Naomi's eyes filled with tears, the ones she'd held back all day. "I'm fine." "No, you're not," Graham said softly. "And that's okay." He pulled her into a hug. Naomi's composure finally broke. She pressed her face into his shoulder. She cried quietly. He held her until she was ready. When Naomi stepped back, Graham turned to the room. His eyes swept over Maria, David, Evelyn. His expression was unreadable. "Who's in charge here?" Graham asked. "I am," David said. He extended his hand. "David Chen, Regional Operations Manager." Graham didn't shake it. "Graham Carter." David's face changed. Recognition flickered. Then something else. Fear. He withdrew his hand. "Mr. Carter," David said. His voice was different now, uncertain. "I wasn't aware you were... I didn't realize..." "That I'm her father?" Graham asked. "Or that I'm your CEO?" The room went silent. Evelyn's face drained of color. Maria took a step back. Even the security officers straightened. "Both," David said quietly. Graham's voice stayed level. Even. But there was steel underneath. "Then let me be very clear. We are not handling this with hush money. We are not burying this with vouchers and private conversations. We are documenting everything, formally, publicly, today." "Mr. Carter, I was attempting to..." David began. "I know what you were attempting," Graham said. "You were attempting to protect the brand, to minimize liability, to make this go away quietly. But my daughter's dignity is not negotiable, and this company's integrity is not for sale." Evelyn tried to speak. Her voice came out thin. "Mr. Carter, sir, I can explain..." Graham looked at her. His gaze was cold. "Ms. Marsh, you denied my daughter a confirmed meal. You lied about the manifest. You filed a false report calling her disruptive. You mocked her scholarship folder, and you made her feel less than human on a flight she paid for. What exactly would you like to explain?" Evelyn's mouth opened. No words came out. Graham turned back to David. "I want witness statements logged. I want the manifest documentation archived. I want a formal investigation opened, and I want it all completed before anyone leaves this airport." "Yes, sir," David said. His professional mask was gone. This was submission. Graham looked at Naomi. His voice softened. "Did you eat?" "Eventually," Naomi said. "Lena brought me something." Graham looked at Lena. "Thank you." Lena's tears spilled over. "I should have done it sooner." "You did it when it mattered," Graham said. He turned back to David. "Ms. Ruiz will not face any discipline for telling the truth. Is that clear?" "Yes, sir," David said. A larger conference room was found. A stenographer was called. The statements were taken formally, recorded, time-stamped. Ben spoke first. "I observed the flight attendant, Evelyn Marsh, deny service to Naomi Carter after Ms. Carter presented valid confirmation of a pre-ordered meal," Ben said. His voice was clear and practiced. Ms. Marsh's tone was dismissive and hostile. She implied Ms. Carter was trying to take something she hadn't earned. The language and behavior were discriminatory. Dr. Sloan spoke next. "I'm a pediatrician. I'm trained to observe distress in young people. Naomi Carter showed signs of humiliation and anxiety caused directly by staff behavior. She remained respectful throughout. The flight attendant's conduct was unprofessional and cruel. The other passengers gave their statements, simple, direct, consistent. The truth built itself brick by brick." Lena spoke through tears. "I was afraid to contradict Ms. Marsh. She's senior. She threatened my job. But I couldn't let Naomi be blamed for something that wasn't her fault. Her meal was listed. Ms. Marsh knew it. She lied." Captain Vance spoke last. His voice was quiet, ashamed. I received a report from Ms. Marsh that primed me to see Ms. Carter as the problem. I didn't question it. I should have. I deferred to rank instead of evidence. I apologized to Ms. Carter. I failed in my responsibility. Naomi listened to her experience confirmed in adult language that couldn't be dismissed as teenage sensitivity. She felt something inside her settle. Not relief, but the weight of being believed. Graham sat beside her. He hadn't spoken since they entered the room. He was letting the process unfold, letting the truth speak. When the statements were complete, David turned to Evelyn. Ms. Marsh, do you have anything to add? Evelyn's hands were clasped in her lap. Her uniform was still perfect, but her face was drawn, defeated. I did my job as I understood it, Evelyn said. Your job was to lie? Graham asked. His voice was quiet, dangerous. My job was to maintain order, Evelyn said. By denying a black teenager her meal? Graham asked. By calling her disruptive when she asked politely? By mocking her scholarship? What kind of order is that? Evelyn's eyes filled. I didn't mean... Yes, you did, Graham said. You meant every word, every denial, every look. You meant it because you believed she didn't belong. You believed she was trying to take something above her station. That's not policy. That's prejudice. Evelyn looked down. Her shoulders shook. But she didn't cry. She didn't apologize. She just sat in her silence. Graham leaned forward. His voice was steel. What did you mean when you told another passenger that meals were for people who matter? Evelyn's head snapped up. I never said that. Seat 9A heard it, Graham said. It's in his statement. Evelyn's face crumbled. She had no answer. The truth had closed around her. Graham stood. He looked at David, at Maria, at the security officers. His voice was calm but absolute. Here's what happens now, Graham said. Ms. Marsh is suspended pending formal investigation. If the investigation confirms what we've heard today, she'll be terminated. We don't employ people who discriminate. Evelyn made a small sound, almost a gasp. But she didn't protest. She knew it was over. Second, Graham said, we're implementing a verified meal guarantee protocol. If a passenger confirms a meal, it's logged in 2 systems. If it's not available, the passenger is notified before boarding. No more denials at 30,000 feet. David nodded. He was taking notes, frantically. Third, Graham said, mandatory conduct training, not a video module, real training, with real scenarios, with accountability. Every crew member, every supervisor, starting next month. Yes, sir, David said. Fourth, Graham said, a protected reporting pathway for crew members who witness misconduct. Lena Ruiz risked her job to tell the truth. She shouldn't have had to risk anything. We need a system where doing the right thing is protected, not punished. Lena looked up. Her tears fell freely now, but she was smiling. Slightly. And finally, Graham said, an independent review of customer service complaints involving allegations of discrimination. We're going to look at patterns. We're going to look at who gets believed and who gets dismissed, and we're going to fix it. The room was silent. Graham sat down. He looked at Naomi. Do you want to say anything? Naomi took a breath. She looked around the room, at Ben, at Dr. Sloan, at Lena, at her father, at the faces that had tried to silence her and the faces that had stood beside her. I didn't need power, Naomi said. Her voice was quiet but steady. I needed people to see me, to believe me, to treat me like I mattered. That's all anyone needs, to be seen. Dr. Sloan wiped her eyes. Ben nodded slowly. Even David looked moved, or shamed. It was hard to tell. Graham turned to David. Ms. Carter has an interview tomorrow, a scholarship interview that could change her life. This incident has cost her time, energy, peace of mind. What are you going to do to make that right? David swallowed. We'll cover all her expenses, hotel, meals, transportation, and we'll provide a formal letter of apology, signed by me, and by you if you're willing. I'll sign it, Graham said. But that's not enough. I want a public statement, not about Naomi specifically, about our commitment to equal treatment, about the changes we're making. I want people to know we don't hide our failures. We fix them. I'll draft it today, David said. Naomi looked at Evelyn, the woman who had made her feel small, who had wielded policy like a weapon. Evelyn was crying now, silently. Her career was ending in this small room. Naomi didn't feel triumph. She felt sad, because cruelty came from somewhere, from fear or insecurity or pain. But that didn't excuse it. It just explained it. Can I go now? Naomi asked. Yes, Graham said. He stood. He offered his hand. Naomi took it. They walked to the door. Lena followed. Ms. Ruiz, Graham said, walk with us. The hotel room was quiet, clean, safe. Naomi sat on the bed with her scholarship folder. Her interview suit hung on the door. Navy blue, professional. Her mother had helped her pick it out. 2 years ago, before the cancer took her. Naomi touched the fabric. She thought about everything that had happened. The meal cart passing her by. Evelyn's cold eyes. The words that cut. The witnesses who stood. Her father appearing like something out of a story. Her phone buzzed. A text from Lena. Good luck tomorrow. You're going to be amazing. Another from Ben. Proud to know you. Go change the world. Another from Dr. Sloan. You already won. The interview is just a formality. Naomi smiled. She texted her father. Thank you for coming. His response came immediately. Always. Get some sleep. She did. Deep and dreamless. The next morning, Naomi walked into the interview room. Her folder was in her hands. Not as armor, as proof of who she was. Capable, prepared, unbroken. The panel asked her questions. She answered them with the voice she'd practiced. Confident, clear, not defensive, not grateful, just steady. What challenges have you overcome? They asked. Naomi told them about her mother, about learning resilience through loss. She didn't mention yesterday. That wasn't a challenge. That was a victory. Afterward, Graham met her at a coffee shop near the terminal. He showed her a draft on his tablet. A new airline policy. Simple language. Clear commitments. We're calling it the Passenger Dignity Initiative, Graham said. Every person, every seat, equal treatment. No exceptions. Not named after me? Naomi asked. You didn't want power, Graham said. You wanted dignity, so that's what we're protecting. Naomi nodded. She looked at the policy language. She saw herself in it. But she saw others, too. Everyone who had ever been made to feel less than human in a place they paid to be. Graham's phone buzzed. He looked at it. Lena Ruiz is being moved into training leadership. She'll help develop the new protocols, teach them to others. Good, Naomi said. She deserves it. So do you, Graham said. The scholarship, whatever comes next, you deserve it. Naomi looked out the coffee shop window. The airport was visible in the distance. Planes lifted off, carried people to new places, new chances. She thought about Evelyn, about whether the woman would learn anything, about whether accountability was enough, about whether redemption was possible for people who chose cruelty. She didn't know, but she knew this. She had spoken. She had been heard. She had not been erased. 3 weeks later, the acceptance letter arrived. Full scholarship, all expenses, a future opening wide. Naomi stood at her bedroom window. She held the letter in her hands. She thought about the manifests, the statements, the moment Lena's hand shook as she placed the meal tray down. She thought about Ben's notebook, Dr. Sloane's card, Captain Vance's quiet apology, her father's hand in hers. She thought about how justice wasn't only punishment, it was change. Change that made room for the next person to breathe, to be seen, to matter. She opened the window. The air was cool, fresh. She breathed deeply, and she felt ready. Justice is making room for others to breathe.